everyone, I'm your host Miss Angelica and welcome back on another episode of Theology for You. I'm beyond grateful that you guys are still listening right now to our podcasting. So, how are our loyal viewers out there? I hope you all doing fine right now. Don't forget to smile and be strong every single day. First, I would like to start this podcast with introducing our lovely and professional hosts. Miss Christina, an all-time public speaking contest nationalist, Miss Yuri, an international debate contest winner, Miss Jomira, a graduate of Oxford University with a master's degree in psychology, Miss Sophia, a master in religion, culture, and peace study, and me, Miss Angelica, a master in theological studies. Thank you all for coming here today. Your presence greatly warms us all. Back to the podcast. Today, we are going to address our sender's concern. Her name is Uriel. This story is about a young student who grew up with her very religious family and a girl who has many questions about her own religions. Now, let's listen to episode of Why Are So Many Christians Unreligious?
Dear Theology4U, greetings to all of you, and I hope you are all doing well. My name is Uriel. I am a Christian that grew up in a very strict and religious Christian household. I also studied and graduated from a Catholic Christian elementary and high school, and spent most of my childhood in churches. I've even been named after the Archangel of Wisdom and Light, Archangel Uriel. I attended summer Bible camp and Bible studies. Lately, I found myself thinking of whether any of the doctrines I've been taught, the deity I worshipped, and the God who have my allegiance and love are true. Do they truly exist? Or are their existence just a product of human illusion for the need of a pillar and model of hope and righteousness for the man of the olden times? I try to study about other religions. I try to understand and learn their doctrines and morals. I studied the Islam, the Judaism, the Protestantism, the Confucianism, the Buddhism, and even the Hellenism. Yet, it provided me more questions than answers. In Catholicism and Christianity, one should worship only one God, and for them not just to forgive, but also to love their enemies. Whilst in Islam, it is stated in the Quran that they will take vengeance, for they have the power. In Judaism, their history is filled with favoritism and injustice. For Confucianism, they are incredible, self-preserving, while the Hellenism are like drunk scholars writing epics. It is hard to believe in what you can't even see. The closest thing we have of what their likeness is from the Bible and sculptures and painting. And worshipping those artworks are a sin of some kind in the doctrines of the Bible. God gifted us freedom, yet we are not free, for freedom has consequences. It is a give and take situation. God gave us freedom, therefore we could serve and worship Him, which had me raising my eyebrow. Are we truly just been created just to inflate His ego? Everything is almost a contradictory now of some kind. Please advise me of how I can believe in my religion again.
So it looks like that Uriel is having a hard time believing her religion again. And that is very understandable because kung pinalaki ka sa pamilya na super strict at napaka-relihiyosong household, napaka-relihiyosong Christian household, of course, nung bata ka, ang may isip mo is like, it's your responsibility or it's your duty to serve Christ or to be prayerful at all times, especially kung pati school mo is like you're bound in religions. Of course, you're still a child back then, so you literally have no idea how to think of those things before. So that is why it's also natural to change your ideals or to change your thoughts about your own faith or about your religions when you grow up. But questioning your faith is totally equivalent to questioning yourself as a whole person. Because kung talagang pinalaki ka bilang a religious child, of course, that became your personality as a child. But if you start to think about those things, you will start to explore other religions. Like you said that you even read other religions' doctrines, and that is the sign that you are looking for answers na hindi mo kayang gawin nung bata ka. Kasi when all of us nung bata tayo, we couldn't distinguish right from wrong. So I think first, ang masasabi ko lang ay being confused or conflicted about religions is a very natural phenomenon, and it happens to everyone. So to answer your question whether God truly exists or whether those doctrines are saying the truth or not, I think the answer is very uncertain. But for me, the answer is really within ourselves. Nasa sa atin yung sagot kung ano yung gusto nating paniwalaan. But you see, Uriel, we cannot truly answer whether those doctrines that the Bible, the Quran, or the doctrines that the religions is saying is true. Because that is why there is always a debate, diba, about science and religion, because they are two different things. While religion is like there solely for human faith. I think ginawa ng mga tao ang isang relihiyon para to cope with their stress, to cope with their things or problems. But of course, it's hard to say, diba, na hindi tayo pwedeng magbigay ng definite answer para sabihin na God exists, God does not exist. We cannot say that definite because we don't have any proof. But if it's solely for human faith, those religious people will say that it is true because for them, their God is their salvation and it helped them in many ways. And that is different for everyone else. And on the other hand, you are actually right about different religions being super contradictory with each other. Pero alamin muna natin bakit sila nagko-contradict with each other. It's because different people made that religion. And every people has their own beliefs and faith. So I think that is why there are ideals. For example, there are ideals in Confucianism that contradict Buddhism, while there are also other beliefs that contradict the beliefs of Protestantism and Judaism. Like, it's the same, it's all connected, but it's also contradictory. And to answer your very, very last question, your question is like, are we truly just being created to inflate his ego? By his ego, I think you are referring to God, to your God. It's a very intriguing question, no? Because if you think about it, God's told us to worship them. And if we worship them, we will be blessed in return, we will have good luck, and we will have fortune on our side. But for me, I think it's not. I think religion is purely sacred, and it is there to be the pillar of support of humankind. And yes, there are some point of views or religion that can be offensive to other religions and it can contradict others' beliefs, but religions we can say that religion is like the pillar of faith of everyone. We cannot remove that fact. But I'll say this to you, Uriel. If you really want to believe your religion again, or if you want to regain your faith to your religion, you can just turn back. You can just go back to it. Or if you no longer want to believe your religion, it's fine and it's alright. Because no one can force you to join their beliefs. No one can force you to do that. You have your own freedom to choose what you want to do because that is your life and no one can control that to you except yourself. So at the end of the day, given that there are various religions in our world because of different people, different human beings who have different beliefs and faith, we have to respect them because we cannot force everyone or someone to believe what you believe in as well. Because that's not how it works. Religion does not work that way. So, Uriel, that is all. I hope that you are listening to our podcast right now and I really hope that you can find yourself again. And so I am passing the crown to Sophia, Yuri, and Isha.
So, Christianity. As we all know, Christianity, this is the religion that is based on the life and teachings of the Lord's Son Jesus Christ. Christianity also talks about how to be a righteous person and provided ways onto how we can be by the embrace of the Holy Father and our mission in life, the reason why we are born and the consequences of our actions, the consequences of our wrongdoings and the rewards that we will receive once we did what is expected to us by the Father. Then we get to the religion of both the Jews and the Hebrews, Judaism. Judaism, compared to the Christianity, is the earlier one. It's centered about the grace and worship of Lord God the Father, which they call Yahweh. It talks about the might and the holiness of God, what He done to His people and what they have to do to be by His good graces. And then we have Buddhism. Buddhism is derived from the teachings of Gautama Buddha. Its teachings called Purushartha aims to achieve Dharma, which is virtue, Artha, which is wealth, Kama, which is pleasure, and Moksha, which is liberation. Now, Sophia will tell you about Protestantism.
Alright, listeners, now let's talk about Protestantism. It is a Christian religious movement that began in Northern Europe in early 16th century as a reaction to medieval Roman Catholic doctrines and practices. Protestants believe in three essential beliefs. 1. The Bible is the ultimate religious truth and authority. 2. Through a belief in Jesus Christ and the grace of God, human beings can find salvation. 3. All Christians are viewed as priests and can communicate directly with God. Protestants have two most important and common rituals, which are baptism and communion, also known as Lord's Supper and the Eucharist. The weekly ceremony of most Protestant denominations is held on the Sabbath, which Christians generally perceive as Sunday. The structure and contents of a church weekly ceremony depends on whether the denomination follows liturgical or non-liturgical worship styles. This differentiation is based on the degree to which the church worship is elaborate, standardized, and whether it contains formalized rituals. Confucianism. It is one of the most influential religious philosophies in the history of China, and it has existed for over 2,500 years. It is concerned with inner virtue, morality, and respect for the community and its values. Confucianism was developed in China by Master Kong in 551 to 479 BC, who was given the name Confucius by Jesuit missionaries who were visiting there. However, the fundamental principles of Confucianism began before his birth, during the Zhou dynasty. Confucianism believes in ancestor worship and human-centered virtues for living a peaceful life. The golden rule of Confucianism is, and I bet you've heard before, do not do unto others what you would not want others to do unto you. The religious dimension of Confucianism can be easily perceived by its emphasis on sacrifice and worship. 3 kinds of sacrifice have been observed by Confucian tradition: sacrifices to heaven, to ancestors, and to the sages. Heaven is worshipped because it is believed to be a source of all things. Ancestors are worshipped because they are the fountainhead of present human being. And the sages are worshipped because they exemplify the perfect personality and are models of the best rulers and teachers of proper behavior. Now let's have Hellenism. Now let me tell you, this one is really interesting. It is primarily centered around polytheistic and animistic worship. Devotees worship the Greek gods, yep, you heard that right, which are the 12 Olympians, divinities and spirits of nature such as nymphs, underworld deities, planet gods, and heroes. Hellenistic religion were the systems of beliefs and practices of Eastern Mediterranean people from 300 BC to AD 300. For the Greeks, their gods were at the same time universal, found everywhere and powerful over the whole world, and intensely local, manifesting themselves in particular places. Hellenism has many festivals throughout the year that many seek to celebrate, where the dates are often set by lunisolar Attic calendar. These festivals typically commemorate events in Greek history, honoring deities, and the festivals celebrate and connote spiritual themes.
All in all, it is understandable to be curious and question your beliefs or religion. But we must remember that it is all about your faith in your God and religion. In a world where there are many religious beliefs, we must respect and understand each other, for it is our faith that holds us together. That is all for today's podcast. I would like to thank all of our sponsors, Jose Rizal University and Miss Pichi Araneta, and our host, Angelica Baloloy, Jomira Moreno, Cristina Topia, Sophia Perez, and Yuri Galang. Lastly, I would also like to thank our lovely listeners for your unending support. See you on our next episode. This is Isha Corgado, and this has been Theology for You, now signing out. Bye-bye!